Yeah, I better start sending on my anti-aircraft defenses.
Executed at point blank range with an anti-aircraft gun.
That's a war crime, isn't it?
In strategy.
Well, I mean, it's not a war crime if you win.
Good point.
Exactly.
Well, since we're all here until Callum joins us, whenever he's done throttling that civil engineer, welcome to the Micro Machines podcast.
Yes.
That's our open?
That's our open, yeah.
Hey.
That's our open.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. I've been recording for like 20 minutes now.
Yeah.
Have you really?
No, not actually.
Okay. I hope not.
What's our topic this week about?
Our topic is on shitty British tanks. And for once, we all actually have made our own slides.
Yes.
Yeah, it's a team.
Yes, we all know that Britain most definitely has the best armored vehicle design of any country on Earth. Most definitely.
Yeah,
right.
their Department of Defense is definitely not masochistic in any way.
I love grinding the British War Thunder tech tree. I love it.
Oh,
it's not painful at all.
I love grinding 70 hours for a Churchill.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, grinding
I don't know what to do. Callum's slides are up next.
Oh, he did the Matilda one.
Oh, he's here.
Ah, we were just talking about you.
Yo, you guys hear me?
You're really loud.
You're a little quiet.
This has certainly been the most disorganized episode so far. We've been trying to record for like the past 6 hours.
Yeah.
Just being blue-balled.
Hey, there you go.
There you
are. That's better. Just
yeah.
There we go.
There's just that one phone call that just fucked up everything.
Did you eat that civil engineer or not?
The engineers are going to have one hell of a day today because I had to go out there to find a stuff up that they had caused in their own design by not thinking.
Yeah, seems like something that would happen.
Sounds like a civil engineer.
Yeah. Engineering moment.
Hey, does my mic sound like as loud as everybody else's now?
Yeah, pretty much.
Yeah.
Okay.
Alrighty.
This is gonna be.
I know.
This will be my last episode with my shitty mic. Well, no mic. So
it's honestly not that bad.
Yeah, well, I mean, your audio is perfectly clear. That's what I'm
looking for. Okay. Well, my audio, like the last 2 times weren't that clear, but maybe it was just because I had the sensitivity turned down a little bit. But we're all figuring this out.
Yes, I'm once again recording this in an RV.
Hey, nice.
Really doing that whole Breaking Bad New Mexico stereotype, eh?
Oh, hell yeah.
Anyways.
Matilda 1, who wrote the slide?
That was me. This is my one.
You're in the hot seat.
Yes.
Has anyone done an intro?
We had like a 20-minute cold open.
Oh, sweet. Right. Okay, so Matilda 1. The little tank that couldn't do really anything.
But it's super cute.
For all the faults that I'm going to list off, I still love this tank a lot. I don't know why. It looks cool. Yeah,
wow.
I absolutely. It's just such a cool looking tank that it's like, yeah, for all its faults, I still love it. So Matilda 1. The original design for this thing was basically a replacement for all the tankettes that countries were fielding. You know, like the Carden Lloyd and all of those, really. They just wanted a mobile machine gun unit that was more useful and had a higher survivability than any of the tankettes. So technically, the Matilda 1 was the first official infantry tank, as we know them. So, everyone knows the focus of an infantry tank to be high firepower, high and a lot of armor, no real maneuverability or anything like that. It was just basically sit there and take a lot of hits and just deal it out as well. So,
I have a question.
yep.
So, with this being like the first infantry take, does that make this like a predecessor to the Tetrarch? Because
Yeah,
I know that's what like inspired the T-26s and all that. I think it was the Tetrarch, right?
yeah, I think so. I'm not too sure. I don't know too much about the Tetrarch. A lot.
We'll have to cover it in the future then.
Add it to the list. But
Okay.
so basically, so when Matilda was being developed, the British had an idea of 2 infantry tank concepts, not just the one. So one of the concepts was a small 2-man machine gun armed tank, and built in large numbers, and that would just go in and just swarm enemy infantry. And then you had the Matilda 2 with the cannons backing up, sort of thing. That was the idea.
Oh, so these were developed concurrently?
Yeah, Matilda 1 and Matilda 2 fought
Oh,
side by side in France.
Oh,
Oh,
Yeah. The idea was Matilda 2 had the cannon, Matilda 1 had the machine gun.
so it's like you took a Mark IV and I don't know, divided it.
they took the Mark IV to Detroit.
Yeah.
ooh.
Mm. So in theory, this kind of worked. Like during First World War, it was shown that the female Mark IVs with the 2 machine guns on either side was more efficient at dealing with infantry than the male Mark IVs. So that's the idea of this. So, where am I? So we'll start listing off what makes this good, and then we'll go into why it fails, basically, why they never used it again.
Right, because
So,
this isn't an episode on good tanks.
No, this is
no,
basically a
No.
disaster episode.
it's a disaster. I'm only just going to go through the one good thing that it had going for it, and then the rest is just cliff.
Perfect.
So the only good thing about the Matilda, can anyone tell me how much the front and side armor was? How thick it was?
Juicy.
How
Less
much?
than an inch.
Yeah, it doesn't look very thick.
The front and sides, the armor was actually 65 mil.
Wow.
Whoa.
That's
Yeah,
decent. Especially for
you're
early
looking at
war.
you're looking at a
Oh,
small
can you
tank
see
with
that? Is that what that like front panel is? You can see that there.
Right here?
yeah,
Yeah.
Oh, damn.
Huh.
No.
yeah,
Yeah. That too. Yeah.
yeah.
Okay.
That's the frontal plate, 60 to 65 millimeters of armor.
And it's
So
angled.
angled,
And
yep,
it's angled.
Yeah.
all the good stuff.
Ping.
So when they tested the armor on the front, that frontal armor can stop a 2-pounder armor piercing round.
Wow.
So they tested against a 2-pounder, which of course the 2-pounder performs better than the Pac 36, 37 millimeter. So basically, it just sit in front of all the anti-tank guns and just ping them off. That was the only good thing it had.
Nice.
The downsides. Shall we get into that now? Because we've had
Oh
the
boy.
one good thing. So, what's the first downside you can see? A very obvious one.
Tracks,
Yeah, those tracks are exposed.
bows.
Yeah. One of the problems was when it would go cross country, it could cross trenches and stuff very well. It's just the amount of dirt and debris and shit that got thrown up onto the engine deck, into the exhaust, into the suspension, all of that. There was just nowhere to stop it. So what they try and rectified was what you're looking at now is a late, air quotes, late version of the Mark 1, of the Matilda 1. For the late ones, what they did was they put these small little fenders on the back to try and mitigate that. They didn't put fenders all the way through, they just put these teeny little ones to try and help.
Just to scrape off the excess, eh?
Yeah, pretty much. I'm not sure how well that would have done. So that was one problem. The other problem being, well, it was a very slow tank. It was powered by a Ford V8, but it only had about 70 horsepower. So cross country, it could do about 8 miles an hour at most.
I can
That's not
run
great.
faster than that.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah, so it didn't
Well,
do too well.
infantry tank.
So it wasn't the fastest. Also, there's another point of, if you go down the slides, you'll see one with the driver's hatch open.
This happy-looking fellow right here.
Yeah.
He looks like a
Can
nut.
you see the next problem with that?
Well, yeah, your tank crews are dressed up like they're from Monty Python.
I don't see that as a downside.
Yeah, there's no downside to that.
Now, with the driver's hatch open, the commander couldn't actually see forward unless he was turned out as well. Plus, the turret had to be turned to the side to allow it to actually be open.
That's efficiency.
That's brutal.
How much crew is in this tank?
Well, there was crew. There was only 2.
Yeah, like 2? Okay.
Yeah, it was 2 men. So you had a driver, and then in the turret you had a commander, gunner, loader, radioman. You know, that nice early war sort of one person doing one job and then the other person being overworked.
That's very efficient.
How much room was there, like, from an ergonomic standpoint? Was it reasonable? Because it looks like a fairly large turret for the commander. Or maybe that's just the perspective.
From what I've been reading, it doesn't seem like there was a lot of room in there. Because believe it, a lot of these tanks also had radios in them.
A lot better than signal flags.
Yeah, but the way
It's
that
true.
the commander could get to it was the radios were positioned on the floor and behind him. So the only way he could get to them would be to stand up and then twist and crouch down to get to the radio to set the radios.
I love playing a twister just to use my number 19.
While being
Yeah.
shot at.
Yeah, exactly.
Well, at least you won't get being shot at. Nothing's going to go through. So
There is that.
Now the final downside, and that's the fact that it was only armed with a machine gun. So you had two versions. You had the 303 and you had the .50 Vickers, which for against infantry, all good. The minute they hide behind something, not so good. The .50 Vickers did have AP rounds, but the most that could penetrate was about 20 millimeters of armor at 100 meters.
Hmm.
That was the best it could do.
And it had a much lower fire rate, did it not?
Much lower fire rate and a lot less ammunition because of the bigger rounds.
So what was the idea of that? Were they making almost like a version of this that could deal with light vehicles, or was that meant more to go through buildings? Or was there even like a doctrine?
I think it was just to give them a bit more punch.
Okay.
That was about it. It was purely just suppressive fire type thing.
Right.
I mean, it'd be pretty good at. Oh, go ahead.
No, I was just gonna say, it kind of seems like the M8 HMC equivalent.
I think it'd be pretty good at close range. It'd be like the that end scene from the second to last movie, where he's in the Jeep with the 50 cal.
I think that was the idea of it. So basically, the Matilda 1 could go anywhere it wanted, survive any amount of damage, any amount of firepower, anything like that. It was described as basically it could get to where it wanted to go, and that's all it could do. It couldn't really be effective anywhere else. So these were Matilda 1s were used in the Battle of Aries in France at the beginning of the war. However, most if not all of the Matilda 1s they had were left behind at Dunkirk. So they let the Germans capture them, and the Germans, it's been reported, they did actually use Matilda 1s they gave them to security forces in occupied countries, basically the police force to use.
Well, I bet they would be better at that since they're not really driving over cross country. They just have to park at the end of a street, and then machine gun's about as powerful as you'd want, anyways.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So it's quite funny. You look at Matilda 1 and Matilda 2. If you scroll along to the Matilda 2.
There we are.
Yep.
Ooh.
This one is also, for some reason, both Matilda tanks. Love them both.
Oh.
So,
Oh.
Matilda 1 and Matilda 2 fought side by side, and it's just quite ironic. One of them was just known as this useless machine gun tank that didn't really go anywhere. And you got Matilda 2 that's got legendary status. Now both the same concept. It's just, yeah.
Luck of the draw.
Well, for one thing,
Well, I think
Matilda 2 would manage with the mud a lot better thanks to those side skirts.
Yeah, it did. And I think just the fact of having at least a 2-pounder just proves a lot more effective against in warfare than just having a machine gun.
Honestly, for how small the Matilda 1 is, it's pretty tall. It's like 8 feet tall.
That's what 1.3.
Yeah, 1.3 come by.
Yeah.
Yeah, about that. Yeah, yep.
Not bad.
But yeah, so it's known as a bad tank, but it's still one that I just absolutely love. It's just such a cool looking tank. Although I've got a severe bias to 20s and 30s tanks. I love the interwar stuff. I think they just look so cool.
Well, they definitely had that aesthetic.
I'm gonna have to agree with you.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Like, we need more models of interwar stuff.
I was doing some research. There are actually 2 models of Matilda 1.
In 35th scale?
Really?
Yes, there is the Commander Series models resin kit in 1/35th scale, and Accurate Armor, I'm pretty sure, does a 1/35th as well.
Wait, I was just on Missing Links. There's a new company that makes 1/35th scale. It's called what's that Spanish 3D company? Something. Oh, bugger! I'm gonna have to look it up. But there's this company from Spain. Oh, FC Model Trend. FC Model Trend is the company.
Oh, sure.
And they just came out with their resin 3D printed kit for it, 35th scale. I think it's got like 4 pieces. Looks really good.
Nice. So it's kind of like, yeah. It feels like the Matilda 1 seems like something a hobby boss would just throw out one day.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
Note to our 20 listeners, send us the FC Model Trend.
Yes. Yeah, just send us kits, please.
Yeah.
Send us every kit you can manage.
Yeah. So basically, for the Matilda 1, the whole reason that it didn't work was it just can't do anything. Like, it could get there, but that was it. It was pretty limited in what it could be used for.
Emotional support, basically.
One of those,
Yeah.
It's nice to have around, but you prefer something else.
It's a backup plan.
Cool.
So that is thank you for listening to my TED Talk. That is the Matilda 1.
Thank you, Callum. That tank absolutely sucks.
Yes.
Yeah, that is could be a lot better. I jumped ahead of somebody here. I put my slides in the middle.
Oh, that's fine.
I guess you're up next then.
Yeah. So this is the Covenanter. Too hot for Africa. Too hot for deployment, actually. So this is it. This is actually oh yeah, I'll get into the mail it later. But it has a 2-pounder. That's all it could really carry. It's the original, kind of first edition of what would eventually lead up to the Crusader. It's got a pretty large engine, 12-cylinder, and the reason that's important is because if you go to the next slide, you can see that, well, having a large engine, what they had to do was push the radiator to the front. And this is a big problem. So pushing the radiator all the way up to the front made like horrible cooling problems, and it would break down all the time. And that's pretty much the main thing that's wrong with it. Any
I
thoughts
would have
so
thought
far?
I would have thought the other problem would be if it got hit once by something, by anything, your radiator's down.
Quite, yeah.
Yeah, that's a good point.
So apparently, it makes a great tier 4 in World of Tanks.
It actually
Does it?
does. I
Yep.
quite enjoyed it.
Yeah, until
Yeah.
they hit your radiator.
Yeah.
I will say.
No,
Oh, they
World of
knock out your
Tanks.
radiator.
World of Tanks isn't into such things as realism.
No,
War Thunder supremacy.
Yes.
exactly.
I will
Is the
say.
Covenanter in War Thunder?
No, it is not. The closest thing would be the Crusader 2, which is not close at all, but it's got rivets.
Yeah. Got rivets, so it counts. What were you gonna say?
Me? Callum, you've got your work
Okay,
cut out
I'll
for you on
continue
this
then.
episode.
Yeah.
Okay. So, the thing that made this such a failure is because of having that radiator at the front. Well, it did overheat a lot. That wasn't the main problem. The main problem was the pipes ran up the sides of the fighting compartment and would scorch the crew every time they would
Ooh.
move
Uh-oh.
position. Yeah, it harmed the crew. That was the goal of this episode, and I think I accomplished it.
Kill the crew.
Yeah, it had a bad habit of burning dudes' hands when they tried to get out of the tank or sit in the tank. And in total, 1,200 were built, and none of them were deployed. They were all used for training purposes because, well, because of those overheating problems, they couldn't deploy it to Africa. It would get too hot in the turret for them to be able to send it to Africa. Basically, the crew would overheat.
Oh.
It would. Yeah, it was just a big
Wait.
mess.
So what you're saying is this is the perfect candidate to send to Russia in the middle of winter, because then you're guaranteed to stay warm.
I was just thinking
Oh
that.
yeah,
Yeah.
100%. This seems like the perfect tank for the winter war, to be honest.
Well, you got central heating built in. It sounds
Yeah.
pretty good.
Driver's all nice and toasty.
I'd rather
Yeah.
be in this than a T-34 in the middle of winter.
You know, I bet they could
Yeah, well,
integrate the boiling vessel into that radiator system.
Right.
yeah,
Just put a tap midway in the pipe.
Yeah.
it would be in Russia, winter war. You're fighting Finland. It would be either this or T-26.
Oh, I'd much rather
Yeah.
this.
Yeah. I mean, if I may, it looks like a fairly solid tank, radiator issues aside. Like, it's got the 2-pounder. It looks like it looks fast. I don't know if it was or not, but it looks like a proper cruiser tank, save for the fact that you're boiling your crew alive.
Right.
Yeah, that is the only real issue, even though it's a really big one. But
Is it though?
it's got a suspension. It's a pretty solid tank. They put a lot of effort into it, I would say, and it eventually led to the Crusader. But
I think there was one other problem it had, and that was to do with the road wheels. I think I remember watching, I think it was a David Fletcher one or something, the road wheels they used, they wanted to save on steel for other things. So they used, I think it was like an aluminium alloy or something for the road wheels.
That's not good.
Oh, great! It's made out of pop cans.
Yeah. Well, I mean,
I'm just
if
gonna
they,
fact check myself.
yeah, I didn't notice that. So you could be right because I didn't. I mostly dived into the radiator aspect of this. I didn't see much of it, the road wheels, but that would also make sense because, I mean, somewhere throughout building 1,200 of them, somebody must have thought, yeah, we're only going to be using these for training. So it would make sense for them to cheap out a little bit.
Didn't David Fletcher put this at like his bottom 5 tanks?
Yeah, I think it was.
Yeah.
So they made 1,200 of these, and they were only used for training. So you're telling
All
me
of them.
that Britain successfully created a tank that was essentially the same as the Ram, but they made it worse.
Nothing,
in a
nothing
time
can be
where
worse. I mean, sorry.
Yeah, well, in a time where they desperately needed tanks, they made 1,200 of these, and they didn't deploy any of them because it was that bad.
Big brain
Just
moment.
make 1,200 Rams.
There you go.
That's the solution.
Ah, here it is. It was the other way around. The use of steel wheels instead of aluminium, which increased the weight.
Also
Oh,
probably
It was
caused a
the other
hell
way
of a
around.
racket.
Yeah, makes sense.
Yes, the use
But like,
steel wheels instead of aluminium increased the weight to basically it was at maximum load the whole time
Oh,
for
fun.
suspension.
yeah, it's bad, and that's like, despite having the biggest engine they could possibly put in it, like, also moving the radiator up so they can put in that V12 that they needed to put in it.
So the whole tank is like designed around speed, but that is exactly what it doesn't have, more or less.
right.
Yeah,
Oh, that's
I
great.
think that. Yeah. Uh, yeah.
The British have done
And
it
well,
again.
they've done it again. In that picture on the left there, I'm not sure why, but it seems to have a Matilda mantlet on it. I really don't know why, but that's there. I just picked that picture because you can see the radiator covers a lot better, and that light at the front is pretty cool.
The light, it does go hard. It does give it
It
like
does.
Gran
Yeah.
A
Turismo
train
vibes.
aesthetic.
Yeah.
Yeah, yeah.
The only thing this thing needs now is like a giant spoiler on the back.
Yeah, you
Cool.
lower it, do camber on the tracks.
Oh yeah, camber. I wonder, has anyone ever actually thought of cambering the tracks? If they were going to do it, it would have been on this tank, 110%.
Oh, 100%. Yeah. 1,200 built, all used for training. I'm sure some soldier got shit-faced and decided to make a few modifications.
Somebody at the tank museum has looked at these wheels and considered swapping them out with BBSs. I know it.
Somebody's looked at this tank and considered swapping it out with a 2JZ.
Oh, dude, a 2JZ version of this, there would be no competition. Who cares about overheating,
They
man?
were,
Straight pipe it.
yeah, straight pipe it.
Oh, sorry, car talk on a tank podcast. Okay.
Oh no, go start
Okay.
your own
Getting confused
podcast
there.
for that.
Jeez.
Right.
Oh, sorry, do you want me to go back?
No, I was just, we're gonna have to cut this out. You go.
Alright, fair enough. Okay, well, this is mine. I'm taking us from World War II all the way to 2022. This is the Ajax Infantry Fighting Vehicle, or as I like to know it, give the crew hearing loss. Okay, so what exactly I guess we should talk about is the Ajax IFV. So this vehicle here, this absolute chonky lad, is actually derived in some ways from this, the CVRT. So I think we've all heard of the CVRT, right? Like the Scorpion, the Scimitar. There's one more.
Yeah.
I forget the last
I have a
one. Doesn't
model of
matter.
one. I
Yeah,
have a
Tawny
model of a
from
scorpion on my desk right
Hitmaker is jumping up and down right now.
yeah, exactly. This
Yeah.
thing, he's cute. I like it. I think it's very, very petite, very sweet. I like it. It's cool, and it's got a 76. Cool. Okay. So the CVRTs were originally designed basically to be used like scout tanks, right? They would do reconnaissance. They wouldn't really do so much fighting as they would just do like command and control and all that sort of thing, right? And they were meant to be fast. They were meant to be lightweight, so they could be air transported and they could go like anywhere, right? They were designed to be maneuverable, and even had a bit of a punch. I mean, you think about it, this 76 millimeter turret was the same thing used by Canadian Cougar AVGPs in the Balkans, and I mean, it's not much, but I wouldn't want to be on the receiving end of a 76 millimeter Hesh, right?
Right. Yeah, it's better than a 20 mil.
Yeah, exactly. So these yes, I was about to call them AVGPs. I'm sorry, I've got my mind stuck on Canadian stuff. These CVRTs have acquitted themselves very well, right? They've served as early as I think the 70s, all the way into like Afghanistan during Operation Herrick, right? They are just great. They've worked really well. They are an example of something we are not talking about today, which is a good British tank. So, in the 1990s, the British Ministry of Defense basically began a program to replace the CVRT, right? They wanted to basically get like a it doesn't have to necessarily be a tank, a proper fighting tank, but it has to be some sort of tracked armored vehicle with a turret that can be used for high speed reconnaissance and stuff like that, right?
Right.
So fast forward to the 2010s, and they go through a competition basically with the industry to figure out, okay, well, like which manufacturer's design are we going to more or less integrate into the British Army to replace this tiny thing, right? They chose this.
Mhm.
They chose this absolute behemoth. So this is the Ajax infantry fighting vehicle. It's developed by General Dynamics of the UK. Basically, what this is imagine a warrior IFE. Take away the troop carrying capacity, take away like everything that makes the warrior good. Strap a huge turret on it with a remote weapon station because if we hadn't already made this thing tall enough, there you go.
I do like that remote weapon system, though.
Well,
It does look.
I'm getting I'm going to digress here, but this thing goes hard. Like, no offense, but
Oh, yeah,
this
for
looks
sure.
good. Damn.
It
Uh-huh.
does.
It looks good.
It,
Important question though.
Yeah.
With that automated turret system on it, how many Columbi is that?
Oh.
Oh,
ooh,
I don't know for sure, but I think it is at least 2 Columbi, maybe even 2.5. I'll have to get back to you on that. I can even post it in the description of the video, but it's definitely at least 2 Columbi. Which this
Jesus.
yeah,
thing,
about 2 Columbi. It's 9 feet 10 inches.
there you go,
well,
over 2 Columbi. This thing was like maybe 1.5 Columbi, maybe a little bit more, but
yeah,
nowhere near as tall as this. And look,
that thing was small.
they're using the old Crows system, not the new low profile one. They're using the flipping 1 story tall version of it. But anyways, so the thing is, this beautiful, but also at the same time disgusting vehicle is meant to replace the CVRT. I'm going to give you guys one guess as to whether it has actually done that or not.
I'm gonna say no.
You'd be correct.
Yeah, given the
I'll say
context of
no.
this podcast, I'm going with no.
So, without like any prior prejudices, can you guys see anything wrong with this vehicle? Like looking at this image, can you see anything outwardly wrong?
Apart from the height, not really.
Okay. It looks pretty cleanly, right?
Right.
Well,
Yeah.
So that could just be the netting covering everything.
no, I mean the actual thing looks
Yeah.
pretty drippy. Now, the thing is, with this vehicle, on the surface of it, everything is fine. It looks good. Yeah, it's way too big to replace the CVRT, and it's not really. It lacks the height factor, but on the whole of it, it's armed with a 40 millimeter. It's got a remote weapon station with thermal optics. It's relatively fast, relatively agile. So what's the problem? This thing vibrates. This thing
Oh,
vibrates like an Awada Ninja compressor. It does not stop vibrating. The moment you turn the engine on and begin driving it, it starts shaking. Like, so much that it's giving people something called hand-arm vibration syndrome.
That can't be.
What was that like after? Like after you use the grinder for like 2 hours and your hand just can't stop shaking after?
It's basically like that, but times 10. This
Oh.
thing
Jesus.
Ooh.
vibrates so much that beautiful 40 millimeter turret we were talking about, which is fully stabilized, it doesn't even work. The stabilizer, as powerful as it is, can't overcome the vibration. They turned this thing into a BMP-1. So
A tall BMP-1.
a very tall.
Worst kind.
Look at this thing. Look at this right here is probably like a half Columbi right here, half Columbus, I should say. So now we have not really talked about General Dynamics as a manufacturer, but I think we've all we're familiar with their work, right? In Canada, General Dynamics makes things like the LAV-3, the LAV-6. In America, they make the Striker. Ezra, correct me if I'm wrong. I think they work on some American tanks, right?
I think so.
Yeah. Okay. So they're a pretty decent company. They made the beauty that is the LAV-3, so they clearly know what they're doing, right? Columbus, sorry, Callum, I think you're going to appreciate what I'm about to say right here. The engineers at General Dynamics Britain are absolute dolts. They are nimrods. They are poo-poo heads. They are stupid. The hulls that they designed were not designed with the proper, like engineering tolerances and the machine tolerances. So now all of these hulls are of like wildly inconsistent lengths and dimensions. The sides are not parallel, which comes down not just to manufacturing, but also the engineering. They didn't like engineer these things well enough that they would be manufactured with, proper linear dimensions.
How though? That's
This
I
thing.
have to elaborate on that a little bit.
This thing, despite like almost, probably just being developed for in excess of 10 years, this thing has not been, like, no single one of these has actually been manufactured properly such that it does not vibrate. They all vibrate a lot, right? Now, some of them, it's not as bad. Some of them are basically unusable. So the other problem here, as you can see with this caption, is because these are not manufactured, like they're manufactured so terribly, and because each tank is like a Tiger tank where every single one is manifestly different from the next one on the production line, they haven't yet been able to determine if the vibration is a result from like the engineering side or from the manufacturing side. If you as the engineer can't like cover your ass enough with the design that they suspect you were at fault, you've done a terrible job.
good job.
How could the sides not be parallel?
They just
How
aren't.
does that happen?
General Dynamics forgot to use the ruler.
Yeah.
Do we know how far off they are from each other?
I don't know like the official figure that because the UK actually in 2021 the Ministry of Defense actually wrapped up kind of like a study examining, okay, well, where is the Ajax in development? Like, can we get into service, right? I believe that it wasn't by much, but you have to understand that when we're talking about something that's this big with this much power behind it, this heavy, if you deviate from the design tolerances even a tiny bit, you're going to have issues like vibration. You're going to have fundamental structural flaws. Like, it doesn't take much.
Able now. Yeah. Well, the sides are different. You can't tell how much because they're all different.
Exactly. There's one thing I did get from that report was that General Dynamics has yet to actually produce a version, like a model of this IFE that is perfect, right? That they can use as kind of like a litmus test against all the other ones to see just how far out of whack they are. Like, there is not a single Ajax IFE which is actually properly functional, right?
Wow.
Oh.
How much have they made?
Oh, they've made a fair number of them. I think they've made in excess of 30 now.
Oh.
Yeah.
Oh no.
You'd have thought like you'd have thought like, oh, everything's off by so much. You'd go back to the engineering and stuff. It's like, can you just make everything same size? One half same size as the other half. I would have thought that'd be like problem one.
You would think that with like all the computer technology, like, okay, in a World War II tank, maybe someone smudged the blueprints. But these guys at General Dynamics, they've got Blender. They've got AutoCAD. They've got SketchUp. They can make
They've
this
got things
work.
we haven't even heard of. It's the government technology.
Exactly.
107 vehicles have been made.
No
What?
way.
Yep.
That can't be true.
So
Yeah.
essentially, the British Army right now has 107 vibrators because that's what they are.
Expensive vibrator.
Very
How
expensive.
How much are they
Like-
per unit?
Well, I'm not exactly sure like how much they are per unit because I think the costs did vary, kind of like with the F-35. The more you build, the cheaper they are. However, as of June of 2021, the British government had paid General Dynamics £3.2 billion sterling. I want you to
That's a lot of wasted money.
I want that to sink in. That doesn't cover the original cost of like the program that preceded this. So there was basically a program to replace the CVRT. That itself costs billions of pounds. This is just after like the 2010s when the Ajax actually got selected. So for this one vehicle, just for the development of this specific design, 3.2 billion.
Wow.
I'd also like to point out there are now people in the British Ministry of Defence that don't actually think this is even going to ever enter service. Because even if they were able to figure them out, there's been so many people who've gotten concussions and like that whole problem with the vibrating arms that they just won't use them. This is an actual thing that in the British government's report they question if people would even be willing to operate these.
Wait, so are you saying if a country's government is actually listening to its forces about the equipment they use?
Perhaps. I'd say that right now the Ajax is kind of in this weird spot where actually like if you go to basically any person in Britain who follows like domestic politics, like they read the paper, right, and they could probably tell you what the Ajax is and what's wrong with it, even if they don't know anything about armored vehicles, because it's become such a big domestic issue in Britain. Like we've basically the Ajax is supposed to even replace a lot of warriors, so in many ways it's supposed to become the next IFE for Britain, right? But they're vibrators. That's all they are. So
Vibrator.
basically, yeah. The thing is that a lot of people are now saying it might just be a political hot potato that the current government just doesn't even want to deal with. They'll just kick it down the line, keep it in development hell, just shovel more cash into it, and never actually get a viable solution to this.
At this point, it's just sunk cost fallacy now, isn't it?
It is literally if we were going to talk today about sunk cost fallacy, you could probably just use this as the definition. Now, I also want to
put that on the cover page.
Yeah. One thing I would like to also point out, back after the British basically finished the first program where they were like studying how they were going to replace the CVRT, right? And they concluded they want to use an IFE platform. Then they put it to basically like manufacturers with competing designs, right? So the Ajax is the submission from General Dynamics, and the CV90 is, correct me if I'm wrong, the submission from BAE, right? Now BAE made the Warrior. General Dynamics did not. The CV90 is this beautiful piece of technology which has been well proven around the world and is in service with many NATO countries in Europe. It's just a hefty Warrior. They literally rejected this out of hand in favor of this.
British pride?
British pride. This is the most Brexit thing I have ever seen.
Yeah.
I'm reading in 2021, 11 troops had been placed under long-term care because of this vehicle.
Oh God.
But remember, their injuries are not service related, and therefore they are not eligible for payout.
Good job, British government. We're proud of you.
I mean, think about it. How does this look like? You wouldn't look at this and think, yeah, if I get inside this, I'm going to be vibrated right into long-term care. But, yeah.
No, it looks pretty...
Huh. It looks good. Like...
Yeah, it looks good.
On paper, this is at least the equivalent of the CV90. Like on paper, I mean, if we were to go with like the War Thunder analysis, this is perfectly fine. But then like one side is a degree out of alignment with the other, and then you turn your crew into a marinara sauce.
And then you can't even aim properly because the vibrating is screwing the stabilizer up, and it can't even adjust.
The stabilizer is too hot and bothered. Can't focus. Yeah. Although, I will say this: General Dynamics made a really cool model for this. I mean,
For sure.
Pretty sick.
what scale is this? I don't think it's 35th. I think it's like 1 to 18 scale. Yeah.
Yeah, looks big.
Kudos to whoever built this.
Maybe 6.
Could do some more weathering though. Maybe some chipping effects.
But we all know modern vehicles don't chip. They remain in pristine condition throughout their entire service life.
Oh yes, of course.
Exactly.
Oh yeah, no rust or anything.
Yeah. So that is the
I don't know.
earplug special.
Oh, all right. I wrote this slide on the Valiant A38. It's the only tank to remove as many limbs as the Civil War doctor, and I mean the American War. So it's when it was made, it was originally supposed to be an improvement of the Valentine, but David Fletcher says he can't see any Valentine in it, and what he says goes. So, where's my notes?
Wait, hold on. Does this thing have Ostketten?
What I was thinking.
Sadly, no. That would be nice.
I swear to God, this looks like Ostketten.
Yeah.
Okay, it was designed in 1943.
Fair enough.
Captured.
I don't know those nice straps. So it has a 75 millimeter gun, which wasn't bad.
Pretty decent.
Yep. It had a General Motors six-cylinder diesel engine. Again, okay. I thought we were recording on Sunday, so I got totally messed up. I had all my notes ready.
No,
I lost them.
Dude, we've just been weighing this for the most part.
Yeah.
Yeah. What's new?
All right, so if we move on to the next slide, I have a list of all of the problems. So we have, if the driver had his head out of the hatch, the gun it had a good chance of coming down and giving him a good bonk.
Wait, really?
Yeah.
So it would just slip loose of the elevation gears and just bonk?
That's what David Fletcher said.
Oh my god.
Yeah. The classic, if your foot slipped off, I think it was the brake, the only way they could get your foot out was to cut it off.
Okay.
The rear of the tank had 9 inches of ground clearance. It just dragged its ass everywhere.
So it's squatting.
It's tooted.
Essentially, yeah.
It's a lifted truck.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It was extremely slow. And when the driver, he was going out of 5th gear, I think, and it almost broke his wrist because it snapped back with such force.
Damn.
Yeah, that's not good.
Oh, it doesn't sound good.
No. Yeah, when he tried moving it into 5th gear, it struck the right-hand lever and pretty much broke his wrist.
Oh god.
Yes. And the only good thing I can say about it is that it had 4.5 inches of armor.
That's not bad.
Okay.
That's a lot.
It was a lot.
Huh.
Also,
so basically, it could sit there and take hits while the driver is trying to strap his wrist together while cut his foot off so he can bail out, only to get hit by the barrel.
Precisely.
See,
And the suspension was horrible.
See, this is actually a German plot. It was a conspiracy, right, by Nazi spies. They wanted to make a tank that would kill all the good drivers in the British Army. So that
Yes.
No, no, no. This is the most emo tank in the British Army. It's cutting wrists left and right.
But I should have put in a picture of the suspension on this thing.
this thing listens
But it
to
had
My
like
Chemical Romance.
it was really complex.
Yeah, this is not like
Are those?
this is definitely not Valentine's suspension. Ezra, do you know if like any other British tank had this system?
Nope. This was the only one.
Dollar store
David
Valentine
Fletcher
with Osketten.
David Fletcher made
Yes.
a point to say that it's not the Valentine suspension,
Huh.
even though it kind of looks like it.
Well, see, being a British tank, you can't have stiff suspension that throws you around the place, because all that's going to do is make you spill your cup of tea. I mean, you
True.
got to have that soft suspension.
And that gives you
Oh, yeah.
burns, which then you're full circle back to the other tank. The
Covenanter.
yes.
So are those like 5 giant rivets holding the turret together?
It looks like it. Yeah, that's probably all that's holding the mantlet on, because I can't imagine them welding it. It's a British tank. Come on.
Yeah. Like it looks really cool, but huh.
I have looked this up. I cannot find a single model of a Valiant.
Do you know why they kept that one Valiant around? Do you know what they used it for?
Yes, didn't
less.
they give it didn't they have the crew like crawl over it and then try to find everything wrong with it?
They kept it for students, and basically
Right.
they'd just put it there and just say, right, students, go have a look and bring me a list of what's wrong with it. And it was basically
Mm-hmm.
used as a how not to design a tank.
Nice.
When it's that bad, when students can look at it and go, yeah, that's fucked, that's fucked, that's fucked.
Yeah, I mean, to be fair though, it almost looks cool, but it looks terrible at the same.
I mean, hey, if they made the driver's
think it looks
compartment
pretty-
bigger, I bet it'd be all right.
Yeah. I was just gonna say that. The driver's compartment. It's like a blue whale.
Yeah,
Oh yeah.
it's got that IS-3 thing going on, the pike nose.
Oh yeah.
We need to see how tall it is though. It 2.1 meters tall, 7 feet. So that's
That's about 2.1.
1 point.
Wait, no.
1.1, 1.2. Yeah.
Oh, so
Yeah.
0.2 Columbi.
Yes.
Wow.
There we go.
Cool.
Well, I think that's all I had to say on this.
Well, we've got a new segment on this show called A Hill to Die On. And in each episode, what we're going to do is one member of the podcast is going to come out with the most awful take they possibly have and defend it for us and for your enjoyment. This week,
Yeah.
we are drawing and quartering Ezra for his South Korean affiliations.
This is true. Okay. Let's go. I'm ready.
this is true.
So, Academy good? Yes. Academy, okay, they've made some bad kits, but in my opinion, they're a cheaper and a better version of Tamiya.
Jack,
Why I
I'm
say
going to
that?
kill this guy.
Why I say that is the detail is normally pretty good. They include photo etch. It fits well. They're an enjoyment to build. I mean, like that Merkava 4 LIC, I built it up in like 6 hours, and that includes all the photo etch and link and length tracks.
You were having
And
your Panzer Chocolade that night, weren't you?
yes, I had my the MiG modeling cocaine.
Yeah, I
Anyone
will
who's
say,
on Kitmaker will get that.
I will say in Ezra's defense, I've got a couple of Academy armor kits. Only two of them, but there is the Panzer IV-H and the M36B1, and those are very very good kits. I got to say they were nice. I'm kind of on
Yeah,
Ezra's side on a few bits on this one.
the
Yeah,
the 135th
I
scale
was
M60, it's better than the Tamiya one. It has better detail for one. It has the same problems with uh, the rear where the drive sprocket is. But other than that, I'd rather build the Academy one.
I will say
I will
this.
say,
Sorry, go ahead. Go ahead.
I was going to say, I will say their 72nd aircraft are also pretty good. I'd
Mm-hmm.
usually buy them because they're cheap. They're the cheapest ones, and just for a weekend, they do, they're adequate with their detail and stuff.
Yeah.
However, saying that, I'm also going to be starting their 32nd scale SOP with Camel, and you guys have seen the photos I posted of all those injector pin marks, and I almost cried.
Yep.
that was
Definitely need
bad.
a figure for that. Or 3D
Yeah,
printed figure.
that cockpit seat just that gave me nightmares. I don't know how I'm going to deal with that one.
Have fun.
My experience with yeah, have fun. My experience with Academy is well, pretty good, honestly. I'd say I built their like bed frame T-34. That was a really good kit.
Oh, sure.
Um, yeah. And well, Dennis was there. He can
I can
attest to
confirm.
this.
It
Well,
was good.
yeah, confirm that I picked up the Academy Panzer IV just because it was cheap, and the result was actually pretty good. It's in Great Hobbies right now
It
on
is.
display.
We've got on display,
Oh,
Cam.
isn't it the one in Panzer Gray?
Yeah, it's the one in Panzer Gray with all the rust and everything.
Yeah. Sure.
Yeah. It was pretty good. It was a little bit finicky to build. Like I had to clamp down a lot of stuff. It was like it's an older kit and the plastic the quality is like I'd say the quality of that kit is worse than Tamiya. But I still got a pretty good result.
Oh yeah, for sure.
I will say.
Okay,
Yeah.
Sorry.
I haven't built the Warrior on the very bottom left, but I have two of them in my stash. One has an Edward photo etch set, and I'm gonna build that soon and see how it builds up. It looks beautiful.
I will say the only experience I've had with Academy outside their accessories is their 35th scale South Korean K2 Black Panther.
Oh
Two
yeah.
things. First of all, the fit and the warpage on that kit, absolutely atrocious. Like, death penalty worthy. The second thing, 4-piece per link individual link tracks for live tracks which are covered by
Um,
side skirts.
That sounds
I mean, I
horrendous.
guess you only have to build up half.
Yeah.
The other thing, the suspension isn't workable, so there's no point in having the workable tracks anyways. So yeah,
I'll
that
admit that is disappointing.
that is the K2 Black Panther is responsible for my long-standing enmity with the South Koreans. Um, absolutely disgusting manufacturer. I do not care about you or your amazing M51, Ezra.
Yeah,
I
so
would
yeah,
oh
here's
sorry.
my Academy M51, which I bet if you built up side by side out of the box would probably be pretty close uh, to the Tamiya one, but cheaper. So that's a plus.
There you go.
And uh, actually, all of the suspension is from the Tamiya Easy 8 kit.
Oh, I was wondering where you got that from.
Yeah, I just snagged it because it was already built, and I didn't feel like building the Academy one. And then I scratch built the stowage boxes and the telephone on the back out of copper sheeting and some of the Edward photo etch.
Yeah, they look good, man. They look real good.
That is a really great looking model.
I had a fun time beating them up.
Yeah.
We could all
Are
learn
those just rubber tracks?
Yeah, those are just the rubber band tracks, which I might replace. I'm not sure yet.
Well, you are changing my opinion.
Really nice.
Maybe I'll build an academy kit one day.
Do it.
I personally would say Academy is a lot better than Revo.
Oh, for sure.
Well, the bar there is a bit low, don't you think?
Yeah, that's a low bar.
I know.
I
I know it's a low
bar.
bar, but it's something. Because I
They're
built a lot of Revo kits, actually.
That's fair. They're easy to get. You know, the result looks
Yeah.
decent enough.
Cool.
Yeah, exactly.
Well, shall we move on to the next thing?
Well, now it's just work in progress photos. So, this is what I've been working on this past week. I have been working on the Hasegawa 48th scale F2. I 3D printed a 1:100 scale Canadian soldier, 3D printed a 35th scale NLAW and ERA bricks. That's the printer there with its ventilation setup. And now I've been working on a Tamiya 35th scale T55A, which I am 3D printing ERA for. Yeah.
Very cool.
Oh, that's looking good.
Yeah, it's a fun kit to build. I'm really enjoying it.
Ooh, speaking of 3D printing, a FedEx truck just dropped something off.
Ooh.
Well, part of my FEP screens.
I wonder what those could be.
But did that 1:100 scale guy? Did you paint that?
Yes.
Jesus.
Whoa.
CAD
How?
pad, the little micro brush. Just, basically the end of a nail. But yeah.
Looks very cool.
Well,
Is he going to go in a little diorama with a with like a leopard?
A Leopard 2A4 when I can get it to print correctly. Yep.
Nice.
Yeah, it's pretty exciting. 3D printers are neat. They do smell though. Ventilate.
How is that like
really want to get one.
natural? How's that like natural resin you're using?
I haven't gotten it yet. I do plan on getting it at some point. Right now I'm just using the low order resin. But I've heard that the plant-based resin is pretty good.
Nice.
Valentine couldn't be here this week, but yeah, the same thing we're gonna do. He's gonna do a little work in progress thing later this week. But as you can see, yeah, he's just working away on his airfix stuff and his figures. He's always look really good.
Oh, he's sending me some Turbits decals. I gotta thank him for that.
Oh, that's nice.
Fun.
Yeah.
Scale modeling community is great.
Oh yeah.
I know it's.
Oh yeah, and then here's mine. I'm taking the old Tamiya T72 M1 and converting it into a T72B, as seen in the bottom picture of one stuck in a ditch waiting for a Ukrainian tractor.
Oh no, step tractor, I'm stuck.
No.
So I've had to do a few modifications to it. I replaced the barrel with one from a Meng T90 because it uses the same barrel as a T72B. And I had to modify the stowage boxes on the side of it. I had to move the snorkel to the back, so I had to modify the rack. And do some work on the front plate. So that's going to be mostly covered by ERA. Yeah. Oh, yeah, and I'm going to be covering it in the 3D printed ERA bricks that Dennis designed.
Heck yeah.
Fun.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think that's. Oh, and then I have resin tracks for it. And I'll probably print out a cope cage.
Nice.
Wow.
Yeah.
Anybody got any announcements or anything?
Well, I didn't add any work in progress pictures, but I can explain what I'm working on if you want.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So since last time, I kept going more on my M5 because you gotta going on your projects, and I got distracted and did some, I guess you could call it pre-shading. I just kind of weathered the primer.
That's cool.
And I gathered a bunch of just random stowage to put on it. I posted a bit on my Instagram. That's hobbyish with a 1 instead of an I. Yeah, like I've got just like some guns and some shovels or whatever, some
Yeah.
odd pieces of stowage. And
Oh, hopefully you'll
yeah,
get those 230 cals soon. Please.
yeah, that's what I was just gonna say. Ezra's sending me some goodies to help out with that project. Mainly 30 cals, which will, I don't know if you can hear my dog, but he's barking a lot. 30 cals, which will really brighten up the model because the 30 cals they came with are just god awful.
Oh yeah,
They're yeah, they're literally like tubes with circles like kind of pasted on them.
yeah. Aren't the
It's bad.
circles like raised?
Yeah, it's all
Yeah,
raised
they are.
control lines.
Ugh.
Yeah, because I've got that kit, and yeah, those 30 cows are not that good. You're
No.
better off replacing them.
Yeah.
Yeah. So thank you, Ezra.
Yep.
Shout out to Ezra.
And they
Uh,
were spares for my shot cow. So
oh, nice. That makes sense. And then the other big project is the turpits, which I have since spray painted the hull and the line that goes like at the water line, the black line there. I don't
yeah,
know what it's called, so I'll just
I think
black
it's
line.
called like boot or boot stripe. I'm not sure.
That would make sense. Seems like a Navy thing to call it. And I think I might have decided on a camo, which is just the like early 1942 winter camo before it before she makes her way to the fjords and gets that crazy green camo that would be so difficult to paint.
Oh, the
Yeah.
like splinter.
After that green camo is before the splinter. That is also difficult to paint. But if I get bored of the camo that I'm doing now, which is essentially just 2 gray boxes, then I'll end up doing a splinter over top of it. Yeah, and I can send some pictures to the Discord, but last night go on.
I'll tell you what I'll do. Send me the pictures on Instagram, and I'll make them into a post that I'll post next to the actual podcast post on the Insta.
Oh, perfect. Okay, yeah. Yeah, okay. I glued on the balsa deck that I made, and I have filled in the edges with polyfill, and it's looking pretty sweet.
Nice.
Yeah, I just gotta, scribe the planks back in, and then it'll be good to go.
Awesome.
Nice.
Yeah. Uh, Callum, what about you? What are you working on?
Honestly, I haven't even touched anything for the last 2 weeks at least. Since I finished the Defiant, just had every single weekend so far since I finished it. It's just been fully booked out. Yeah, I haven't touched anything, and I'm getting really annoyed by it. But I just haven't had a schedule yet where I can actually sit down and start. Because like I want to start on the camel, but that's got to be filmed. That one's going to be filmed, so there's prep work for that and setup, and which I've started. I've started doing that. It's just I just haven't had the time to do anything, and it's just getting annoying.
Yeah, that's fair.
You're too busy flaying engineers.
I wish. Jesus.
The
Uh,
important things in life.
Yeah.
yeah,
It's the little things, shoving an
yeah.
engineering student into a locker, stealing their lunch money. Yeah.
It's the joys of owning a house. You have to do like house problems, like renovate stuff.
Oh, yeah.
So really, I've just been doing like one-to-one dioramas, really, lately.
With the weathering, don't forget.
1-to-1 dioramas. Yeah, you
Hey,
gotta do the weathering.
the weathering's gonna turn up soon. Don't worry about that. I'm redoing the bathroom. Weathering's gonna happen.
Ooh,
Oh, for sure.
Nice.
you
Well,
s-
we did another thing.
Yes.
Another
go
thing that
us.
we'll be punished for.
Oh yeah.
Oh, and one small commercial. If you are playing War Thunder, you
Oh,
might have the small chance of being killed by a podcast.
small chance, dude. I've been stacking kills. I've been like number 1 in the team for like 5 in a row. Come on, man.
Me too. Yeah, not small chance. We're coming.
Oh, yeah.
Stay away
Yeah.
from the Swedes because I am
We will
grinding
steamroll you.
Swedish.
I just
Yeah,
take the M5 and kill tigers with it.
Yeah.
Skill matters.
Yeah, skill matters. Exactly.
Attack
It's
the
like
point.
really satisfying. Attack the D point.
I had a really good rage moment at War Thunder the other night when I was playing, because I've just been doing a bit of German tanks and still low level stuff, and it was a really tough battle we had, and somehow we won, and I managed with about 7 kills. And just when it was loading to come to the main screen and do all that, whole thing crashed. Game crashed.
Nice.
Oh.
Yeah. At that point, I
Awful.
just sat my laptop down. I was like, I'm just going to walk away from this one.
Do you guys ever do like Air RB or Air Arcade?
No.
That's
I
what I
do sometimes
started War
because.
Thunder on.
Oh, really?
I've been playing War Thunder since before tanks even turned up.
I played Wings of Prey, which was the predecessor to War Thunder, so yeah. Gaijin's been around for a while.
They have. I've been playing since 2017, 2018-ish.
Yeah.
Probably played War Thunder since like 2018, but played World of Tanks Blitz and World of Tanks for at least 4 or 5 years off and on.
Whoa.
Yeah.
Yep. Yeah, I've been
My
playing World of Tanks since about 2012, 2013. And I've just been focusing on the British line, British heavies and all that, because I'm a masochist
Yeah.
apparently.
I love
Well,
Solid
I love the
Shot.
British.
Gotten the Black Prince.
Solid
I
Shot
love
is
the British
amazing.
tank burnout.
Solid Shot is amazing.
I love shooting a tank 22 times.
And getting tracked 22 times as well.
Yes.
Yeah.
Well.
My German and oh, okay,
No,
we're
no, no, no,
closing.
no, no, no. No, I'm not going to pull the plug on you. The rest of you can get
Okay.
out. Go. Leave.
Leave. We're talking about my War Thunder German lineup. Yeah, it consists of a Puma, 2 planes, and a Tiger. That's it.
Beautiful.
And I come
Decent.
in second round. Yeah, that's okay.
Yeah. Well,
Yeah, at least you're consistent.
at least one
At least
thing.
I'm consistent.
The Swedish line gets AP FSDS at reserve. So there is that.
That's awful.
Yeah. Suffer.
I love
Have been
driving
since they
around
added Sweden.
I love driving around in the British Mark 6 AA, just pumping like 700 rounds into someone and them not dying.
Yeah.
That's basically 4 Matilda once you got there.
Yeah. Well, except we don't have any armor.
Yeah, this is true.
It's a Matilda 1, but actually mobile.
Yes. Well,
That
Oh, then.
was
Well,
that was
why
the thing.
British tanks eat their crews and boil them alive. They turn them into soup.
Right. Self-harm
yeah,
founded by the British government. Funded.
exactly.
British Ministry of Defense is out here listening to emo rock.
I just want to say I'm sorry. I've been really I have really bad allergies right now, so if I sound a
Oh,
little
it's all good.
off, that's why.
You sound equally as depressed as the driver of the Valiant.
Yes. Except I still have both wrists in working order.
Oh, there you go. Makes you one
Yeah, that's good.
in a million.
Yeah, and
Cool.
don't
Just
worry.
watch your ankle, though.
Just wait till you get your new microphone, and I'll make you sound exactly like you sound now.
God, please no. I want one episode of clear audio. That's it.
With my
I'll give you
internet?
one.
No way.
I'll give you one. When's your birthday?
Oh, that's all the way in September. God damn it.
Does this podcast have a budget yet?
Give us model kits.
Yeah, $0.
FC model trend.
We're
Actually, no. We're
are
running on
negative money right now.
we're on negative $100 right now. Well, I
there
am.
you are.
That's what it costs to get the podcast onto Spotify.
Oh,
Yeah.
Wait, really?
Basically, yeah, because
Really?
it's got to go through RSS podcast hosts and then onto Spotify. But RSS and all those need a subscription for them. It's honestly not
Oh.
much.
Okay, so here's the
oh,
deal.
It's
One of our listeners.
one last commercial.
Yeah.
DM our Instagram page, and we will give you access to our Discord, which has a bunch of STL files up, and it's pretty good. We're
Don't announce
professional.
that.
we don't pirate anything.
We don't have any STL files on our Google Drive. Do not. No, we don't. We don't.
The only STLs
Oh.
we have are the ones we made. They're
Yes,
not
that's
pirated.
correct. We're just shoveling our grave here. Okay. Discord link will also be up on YouTube in the description of this video. So if you want to join, you can join from there as well. Yeah. Please.
As well as everyone's Instagrams, YouTubes, everything.
Right.
Hitmaker links.
Yes. One other thing. One of our listeners, please send Callum $100 and send me that FC model trend Matilda 1. And yeah.
Ooh. This has certainly been our best episode, I think.
Some nice
Oh
juicy
yeah, we are
pauses.
getting better every time.
Oh yeah.
Yeah. Less to edit.
Yeah.
Although I've still got some sound effects, and we're still got to figure out like an intro, outro music.
Oh yeah, they don't even really know our names yet.
Yeah, we got you know what, we've got to do like each of us has to make a video of just like 30 seconds. This is who we are. This is what we make.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You know, I've actually got Scott Gentry from Plastic Posse. He follows me on Instagram.
Damn.
Oh.
Maybe we should flick him a message.
Ooh.
Just be like, hey, give us a shout out. Shameless plug.
Please, we need a shout. Please.
So please shout out our podcast and watch your reputation go down.
I love how we
Cancelled.
said we were going to do intros,
Yeah.
and then just totally glossed over it.
10-minute cold opening.
Yeah,
Just
you don't
me.
know. You don't need to know who we are.
Yeah. Okay.
No, yeah, we will remain anonymous.
We will get it together one day.
Yes.
Maybe.
We might figure it out.
If you find out who we are, we will track you down, put you into a Valiant, and break your wrists.
Don't say that.
The podcast that threatens you back.
You can't.
Well,
we're only allowed to kill our listeners.
Cool. Well, thanks, guys.
Okay then.
Yeah, that was a good 15-minute closing.
Yeah.
Alrighty. Goodbye, Internet World.
All right.
We'll see you
Okay
next
then.
time.
Bye.
See you on the next
Yeah,
episode.
see you next week.